and thank you for joining us today. My name is Julie Moon, Senior Research Analyst with Finovate, and I'm joined by Claire Calmigène, who's Risk Transformation Director at Lloyds Bank, and we're going to be talking about how financial institutions can capture the Fintech opportunity. So as a brief introduction, Claire recently changed positions. She was formerly Director of Innovation at Lloyds Bank and had been for 5 years or so. So thank you for joining me, Claire.
Thanks, Julie.
So as in your previous position as Director of Innovation at Lloyds, what's one move you made that really helped move the bank along in terms of innovation?
When I started 5 years ago, there was no innovation department, so I would say it was quite easy to make a move. And it was probably my boss, Zach Meehan, that made it by creating the function and giving us a resource. We developed an innovation strategy that was threefold. We had a corporate accelerator where we can create proof of concept experiments with third parties, with startups, or by ourselves. So we were the first one 5 years ago to hire a service designer, UX, to run these squad agile methods that are now across the bank. The second part of our strategy was really around culture and events, and in the industry a lot of people in the UK know our digital espressos, espresso martinis. We really opened the door for everybody to come and to be part of this innovation journey, because we don't really see it as a one size or single internal Lloyds story. We see it as really a collaboration effort. And last, we created a Fintech team where it was more around working with a late stage startup and bridging between the outside world and the inside world, and expanding to the partnership with the GAFAs and the BAT. I think what was, if I just have one, it would probably be our partnership with Startup Bootcamp. We signed that almost on day one when the team was like 2 people. We were the first partner of Startup Bootcamp Fintech. We since created 30 startups in the UK. Their average revenue is 2.3 million. Some of them we are now doing, are part of the mainstream business of Lloyds Banking Group, such as WaraPay, which is a mobile payment hub for coffees. In our case, but it's a mobile payment for paying and beating the queue at any point in time. But that really was the spearhead of our engagement with Fintech. And I mentioned this even because it was not Lloyds going in the Fintech environment, it was Lloyds partnering with an accelerator that is a pure creation of entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs, and going into, okay, how do we help this ecosystem and environment to grow and to nurture, to help UK to maintain this leading position across the world for Fintech.
So you started pretty much from scratch, and you've made some, pretty large strides from there. That's great. So one advantage that Lloyds has is the availability of resources, not only talent, but also funds to power an in-house innovation lab and room for failure and trial and error. What is your advice to smaller banks and credit unions and community financial institutions who may not have those same resources at hand?
It's definitely true that large organizations have a lot of resources in different ways. We have, access to experts, access to capital, access to talent as well, and opportunities to hire apprentices or graduates, or even we do bank most of the schools around the UK. So, when you go to some of the top schools of engineering, it's actually a partnership and a relationship we already have. So we just expand, innovation with our third-party partner and R&D. But being an innovation director for 5 years in a 250 or 300 years old organization has been an interesting journey, in the sense that it's also a lot of stakeholder management, a lot of challenges about accessing data for customers, a lot of dealing with risk, which will explain my new job. And I think this is really where the opportunity lies for smaller banks and smaller organizations. The dealing with the internal organization, even if everybody wants to innovate, when you are a smaller bank, is really there. You can really pilot very easily. We managed to pilot in a very large organization in 8 to 12 weeks, up to 5,000 customers. We built more than 100 experiments in the first 3 years. 1/3 of them are in production. So think if you're a smaller bank and you can just, deliver that, maybe your customer base is just 1-2 million, so it's actually a superb opportunity. It is definitely feasible, and I think the power in the data and the risk to really work in partnership with this department is huge and an untapped opportunity, as well as the engagement with third party and startups. That is probably very easy as well, and these guys really want to talk to them. So yeah.
Great. Well, we have about a minute left, and I wanted to shift gears a little bit. So today's International Women's Day, and your team in the innovation department at Lloyds is comprised of 40% women. Is that something that happened organically or accidentally, or is it something that you really worked intentionally to create?
So the team in innovation is very diverse. It's diverse by ethnicity background, it's diverse by geography. So we had a lot of people coming from Poland, from Australia. I'm French. Like Lloyds is a UK bank, so a lot of our staff is also based, is English, by nationality. It was absolutely not by design. It was a pure accident. I remember one day one person interviewing me and say, "Why do they come from across the world?" And I was like, "Oh, just because I hired the best person." I think when it comes back to female leadership, like our CEO, Antonio Rosario, has made a public commitment of 40% of senior women in position by 2020. So, actually my team was a 50% at the time being in innovation, equality and parity. And, for the group, we are evolving and we are on track to maintain this target. So we are currently tracking on 33.5% across the group. And we've when we started this journey, we were only 28%. So we're very proud of this achievement, even if there is much more to do and to come. I think what really I would say in International Women's Day is in-group transformation, where I work with, we've analyzed the data sets of our women and how do we help them, our talent, to get to the more senior job. And what we observe is actually not that they fail in the process or that men are more promoted than them. It's really like they are not applying. So it was really a problem around applying. So I guess my call to action in this day of press for progress is more press the button for yourself. Yeah. Just go find this job description, apply, and you will see that everything will work out.
Yeah, great. Well, Claire, thank you so much for joining us, and thanks to all of you.